On their way to bomb Japan, the B-29 crews couldn't see the island. It was far below them, often hidden by clouds. But they could detect the early warning radar down there. It would be sending the message back to Japan. The American bombers are coming. The B-29s were on their way from Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. The island below was just a speck in the ocean, 650 miles south of Tokyo. But some unfortunate crews got a closer look. Returning with smoking engines, wings full of holes, wounded crewmen, low on fuel, they were now at low altitude, throwing out anything that could be unbolted to lighten their planes. They were hoping to make it home and not crash in the waiting ocean. Now they saw below them an ugly volcanic island. No paradise with palm trees here. The small island looked gray and brown and black, only 4 miles long, narrowing to the south end where the tall cinder cone of an extinct volcano jutted upwards. Looking at their maps, the navigators could see they were crossing over the island of Iwo Jima, Sulphur Island. They were still over 700 miles from home. They wished they could land, have a chance to refuel, repair their planes, and get the wounded much-needed medical attention. But Iwo Jima was a Japanese stronghold, so instead the gunners watched apprehensively for Japanese fighter planes said to be based there. Iwo Jima had become a thorn in the side of the United States bombing campaign against Japan. A decision was made. The Marine Corps would invade.
The importance certainly of Iwo was that it was one of the spots of their inner defense line. There wasn't anything there. It was 670 miles from there to Tokyo and 700 miles approximately from the Marianas were our B-29s. And of course the reason they wanted it was so that they could put some P-51 long-range fighters on the island so that he could accompany. Because prior to that, the 29s had to go without fighter support and had to have heavy fuel and fewer bombs.
The appearance of American fighters would mean protection for the B-29s, and with the airstrips on Iwo in American hands, those B-29s who did get shot up would have a safe place to land. If the bombing campaign was to kick into high gear, it only made sense to take Iwo Jima. But Iwo Jima came at a steep price. It would be the only battle fought by the U.S. Marine Corps in which they suffered more casualties than the enemy. A third of all Marines who died in combat in the war would fall on this small island. In terms of intensity, relentless combat, the percentage of the landing force that became casualties, and the number of lives that was paid per yard of ground, there was nothing to compare to the horror on that small island.
I landed in the same boat with our captain, but he only lasted for a half hour before he got hit. We changed company commanders 3 times in 2 days.
There were 68 of us when we hit the island, and when we left the island 28 days later, out of the, not all of them were killed, some of them were injured and brought off, but out of the original group, I was one of 3. They never lasted all 28 days.
Grantham got hit, killed. Alonzo Green died of wounds. My buddy Holcomb got killed. Cordy got killed. He was a Golden Gloves champion from upstate New York. Paul Rotundo got hit, not badly, he got hit in the arm. His buddy, Frank Stellato, got hit twice. The second time was when the stretcher bearers, they came under fire, the stretcher bearers dropped him, took off, and he got hit again on the stretcher. And so many guys gone.
There was just constantly trucks coming from the front with Marines dead, and they were being dumped into this pit. Now, they did take one dog tag off, and the other remained on the corpse. Well, here they are. they've turned black because they had rotted up there, and the body fluids are oozing out of them, and sometimes you see gorgeous blonde hair on this black face of some 18-year-old kid, and millions of flies, billions of flies.
252 men. We lost about 100 of us survived the first day. And on the 7th day, we got 50 replacements. On the 24th day, there was only 12 of us left out of that 300.
That was 34 days of constant fighting, almost 24 hours a day. If there was a hell, we went through it on Iwo Jima. We had 5,892 dead, over 17,000 wounded. The Japanese had approximately 25,000 on the island, and at the end of 33 days, or 34 days, we only took 337 prisoners. I have never in my life been through anything like that.
This is the story of Iwo Jima, the courage, the sacrifices, and the savagery of Sulphur Island.